hello, honey buns. How are you? How are you? I'm actually really great. You guys, I took myself out for a pamper girl day. Look at my kitty cat sweater, y'all. This is like, yeah. Meow. It's a kitty cat. So, I think that it is time to do a whole series on how to work with your grimoire, your book of shadows, your book of light, your journal, your art journal, your recipe book, whatever you want to call your special paper place, okay, or special digital place if you like to keep it online. Whatever it is that you call your special tome of all of your working knowledge, okay? Um, we all know what we're talking about. So look, let's say I basically just told you what a grimoire is, what a book of shadows is. You also get to define that for yourself. I know people who, you know, they put very serious information in their grimoires. I know some people who only draw pictures in their grimoires. I know some people who use their grimoires like a scrapbook and they have stickers and paintings and, you know, things. And I know some people who cut photos out of magazines and glue them into their grimoires. Lori Cabot herself does that. Her grimoires are for sale on her shop, and I know that there has been some verbiage or some line of thinking in the witchy community where, you know, anyone who cuts things out and glues them into a grimoire is not doing real grimoire work. Well, Lori Cabot herself does that. So put that where you want to. I apologize, you guys. My upstairs neighbors are assholes. They're very, very loud, but that's okay because they're going to shut up very soon. So let's talk about one of the biggest questions that comes up with a certain type of grimoire, which is the one with the sewn binding. And a lot of people have a lot of kind of stress and anxiety over how to organize. One moment. Sorry, I had to do something about my nose. If I'm breathing a little hard, it's because I exerted a little energy just now. So some people have this you know, stress around how do I organize my grimoire if it's already sewn together, you know, if I can't move the pages. So let's talk about that. I have a very easy way to do that, but let's also say something right up front. Your grimoire is not for anybody but you. It's not going to be on display in a museum. It's not for a grade. So, you know, if you do something and it gets out of order, it's actually okay. You're the one using it. Now, with that being said, if you're like me, I'm very, you know, I'm a Virgo, and there are a lot of people that are just very orderly and, you know, they like their things a certain way. So let me give you a very easy tip on how to alleviate some stress with yourself around how to organize a grimoire that you can't move the pages around in, okay? So let's talk about how to do this one, okay? So one of the things that I have done, and I'm going to move this one out of the way and show you another one. One of the things I have done is ask myself, well, why would it stress me out if my grimoire is out of order? For me, it would just be about the ease of finding information. I do use most of mine for storing, you know, things that I want to refer to again. So I don't want to have to flip through pages to find them. Now, for people that use theirs more as an art journal or a meditation journal, it may not be as important to them that they're able to flip through something or, I don't know, have some tabs with tables of contents. So again, kind of do that how it works for you. So here is a very easy way that you can do this. All you're going to need is a piece of paper and a pen and some of these. These are Post-it dividers. What I want you to do is take 2 or 3 days, a week, a year, however long it takes you. Sit down and make a list of everything that you think you might ever want to put in your grimoire. Whether it be herb knowledge, crystal knowledge, historical reference facts, you know, Sabbath information, whatever it is you would think would be important to you. Write it all down. Meditate on it. And sit on it. I had to sit on mine for several weeks because I kept thinking of things in the middle of the night like, oh, I would want that, or oh, under my herb section, maybe I would want this. And, you know, things would kind of come to me. It is a process to do it that way, but it was very satisfactory for me because I actually felt like I got all of my information, you know, relatively, because we're always going to come up with things. I felt like I got most of it written down. So what you're going to do is, don't worry about writing it down in order. Just write it down, okay? Get a spiral notebook or a piece of paper. Just write it down. Sit on it for a couple of weeks, okay? And think about how it resonates with you, and add things if you need to, and scratch things out if you think, yeah, I actually don't need to write that down. I can find that on the internet, or that's not information I can see myself ever using, okay? When you think you have all of your information ready to go, when you think you're maybe ready to organize it, take that piece of paper and put another clean piece of paper next to it and start putting things into categories and putting them in the order that you think makes sense for you, okay? If it makes sense for you to have all of your spell work in one section, put it all in one section. If you're a person who wants herb spells under herbs or crystal spells under crystals, figure it out, make bullet points, and just organize it. And then, when you're done with your organization process, take these little tabs, or get you some Postit Notes, or you can use other pieces of paper. They don't have to be anything fancy. Take these little tabs and get your grimoire and start laying it out, okay? And start allowing yourself room. And yes, this is one of my working. You guys probably will recognize this. These are those big sketchbooks. I actually have 3 of these. This is one that I am working on right now. I have one that is completed. I have another one that's kind of in progress, but the way that I use it, it's probably always going to be in progress. And then I have this new one. This one is more for static information, things that I may want to use as reference. Okay, there's not a lot of spell necessarily in here. There's a couple, but not as many. But basically, however many pages you think you're going to use, and this particular book, you get a lot of room in it. Okay, and all the pages are blank. Let me find a blank page. Well, I'll have to go to the back. But basically, all the pages are blank. However many pages you think you're going to use, allow yourself several extra. That way you can add to that particular section. But basically, section it off like this and sit with it. And that way you can kind of get an idea based on how many sections you came up with in your head. You can kind of levy that with how much room you have in your book. You may find that you need 2 books, or in my case 3, or in my case you may end up getting another one. But this is a good way to take some of the stress out of it. So I'll read some of these to you. This is a reference book. So for instance, I have history. I have the runic alphabet, 2 different ones. I have a section for moon phases and cycles and information, and this is things that I've observed, but also, you know, what each one means. And also, some of this is very basic information, but you know, this is all handwritten. I like to handwrite mine, and I do that as a practice to basically help myself learn the information even deeper, because when I cut things out and glue them on pages, I'm not really learning it. I'm reading it, yes, but when I have to actually physically write it, it's difficult for me as well because I have carpal tunnel. So writing it is absolutely a dedication for me. I have Wheel of the Year, Sabbat info, animal totem info, deity info, zodiac info, element info, chakra info, crystals and stones. I have tarot and divination. I have a section for candle magic. I have mojo and gree bag, incense recipes. I have bath salt recipes. I have, God, I'm sorry you guys. This one is, I have a section for goals and wishes. And I found that to be important basically for allowing myself some room in this particular area to write down things that I would statically like to happen, things that I want to manifest. I have another area for sachet and witch ball recipes. I have white spells and dark spell magic. And like I said, there are a few spells in this book. These are ones that have some historical basis. These are not ones that I just you know, made up myself. These are ones that I have actually found in old books, and some information that I have found about those spells and the things used in those, because you can't get some of the things in them because they've changed. There wasn't a good understanding of what some of these things were to begin with, but some of them called for like the tail of a dog, and I'm never going to do that. So there is a section for poems and incantations, and I think I've got several more. Well, they're getting smaller, the writing is getting smaller, but you get the idea. So this is just a simple way for you to say to yourself, okay, I've got certain information that I want to go in here and I'm worried about getting it out of order. We'll section it off. And the good thing about these tabs is they're movable. You know, you can just unstick them if you need some more pages, or if you decided that you need more room, or if you know, decided that, yeah, that section needs to be moved up here. If you haven't started writing yet, you can just move it around. I actually don't work on one section at a time. I tend to kind of move around, so it does make it a little more difficult, you know, once you start moving things around, because if you had a formula, I felt like I had lipstick right there. If you had a formula, you may have to do a little footwork with that, but just a super simple tip. And you know, like I said, you don't need fancy things. These little Post-it deals were like $1 or $2. You can go to Dollar Tree and get little things like this. Also, consider that you can write things down in pencil and go back and ink them later. And also consider that, you know, the world is not going to end if your grimoire is not in the exact perfect alignment, if it doesn't have a table of contents, or if it doesn't make sense to someone else, because you are the one using it. As always, feel free to support me on my Patreon. I will be putting up more videos over there pertaining to grimoire work. They're going to be a little more private, so obviously they're behind the Patreon wall. But otherwise, I'll be doing a few more of these videos for you, and I will just entitle them Grimoire Series. So feel free to drop your comments down below. Be nice. And until next time, many wonderful blessings to you. Bye-bye.